Hello and welcome to our fourth and final instalment of our International Women's Day podcast. I'm joined by Lauren and Scott once again.
Pleasure.
Thank you for joining me last week and looking forward to this week where we talk about what empowers you. So for me, I don't necessarily have one thing that empowers me, but I read an article talking about what women can do to empower themselves, and I think one thing for me particularly stood out, and that was say no to people. And I think it just goes to show that you just need to really be yourself, and I think learning to be yourself is the biggest empowerment, really, like learning to say no to things that you don't want to do and not being persuaded to do anything that you don't want to do. And just kind of want to get your opinion on what empowers you, or what you think people should possibly think about when they want to get motivation or find success.
Yeah, I think two things to that. I think one, saying yes to things as well as saying no to things, so actually being empowered to say yes to something you want to do rather than
feeling like you can make a risk.
Yes, or not even a risk, but just have some confidence to go and do things. And I think in terms of be you want to be is absolutely, I know one of the things you want to talk about today is neurodiversity and other challenges that people face that women in technology or women in society kind of brings to the forefront from a diversity point of view. So both of those I think is, but being able to say yes is probably more important than being able to say no.
I think for me it's knowledge and confidence. So having the knowledge and maybe the experience as well empowers, in terms of, for me personally, having that knowledge and experience in a certain thing will make me feel empowered and therefore gives me confidence. Certainly saying yes and saying no to things. I'm probably more of a yes person, which is a good and a bad thing for me, because I maybe take too much on that I shouldn't, or I don't say no to things that I should.
It's all about balance at the end of the day, isn't it? Like, whilst saying no is a valuable thing, like you said, saying yes isn't. It's finding out balance between what you're comfortable with. At the end of the day, it's exactly what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere that you get confidence from? So you've mentioned kind of behaviour that you want to exhibit to be able to be empowered, but is there anything that you find empowers you to do that?
For me, it's almost having a poker face. I think if you appear confident, or you can kind of attack something as being confident and seeming to be confident, you therefore makes you confident, so you do it well, and then you've got the confidence to do it again. So for me, public speaking, I come across as confident. I've had that feedback many times, but actually I'm not confident in public speaking, but because you portray the image that you are confident, it then comes across. So almost fake it till you make it. If that makes sense.
Like acting and fooling yourself, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's not unique to women.
No, absolutely. None of this is unique to women. No, absolutely.
No. I think it's like we spoke about last time as well. We were talking about, one of my frustrations at the moment about it's almost force-fed on young girls that to be successful you must, whether it's STEM, whether that's whatever it is, because if you don't do those things, then you're not successful. And to me, that's a danger to empowerment, because it's just the opposite way around. Whereas, like I said last time, I've got a daughter, she wants to be a hairdresser, let her be a hairdresser. That's empowerment. Let someone be what they want to be.
Yeah.
And again, not want to labour the point, that comes to wider diversity, right? In terms of, whatever you want to be. I know there's a big topic at the moment about education, not wanting to teach about LGBT and stuff in schools because they think it's wrong, which is absolutely diabolical. But it's just about actually giving people the confidence and the environment where they can be themselves. And, when I notice it from a pendulum swing point of view, you're kind of away from sex, as in women and men, is from a neurodiversity point of view. For people that are autistic, so obviously my son's got autism, but it's a hidden disability, because you wouldn't know he was autistic if you met him. But the challenge is that society doesn't enable a platform for people to be themselves naturally. It just, the amount of dirty looks you get, the amount of you know, people that just don't understand. So I think, you know, that label goes across men and women, everything else as well. So
I think it's trying to understand that different things empower people differently, and you know, there are a set of rules for one. It doesn't work for another person, and it's all well and good reading like these self-help articles and getting other people's advice, but so long as you learn to kind of live with yourself and your decisions, I think that's the biggest empowerment, to just kind of be yourself and have the confidence to actually be yourself as well.
I think it's having that self-confidence, but also making sure that you're not too confident and therefore becoming too pushy. So you were saying about young girls in school now are kind of, it is being force-fed to young girls of a certain age or want to go on a certain career path, that is what they should be doing, or they should go further because men can, and that's not the conversation. It's a case of be confident in yourself and your abilities and where you want to get to, so that you're living and breathing by that as a person, but you're also distilling that for the rest of the world to see, and encouraging your children and or friends or whoever it might be to do that, I think would help.
Yeah, it's certainly generational. Again, you know, not to reiterate some of the things you said, but if I think about, you know, some nanas and granddads in my family on my wife's side, but you know, so my nana on that side, she absolutely runs around for my wife's granddad. She enjoys it, right? You know what I mean? But she, you know, she gets his tea, she makes his, you know, cups of tea.
And that empowers her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Exactly.
You know, it's not, and it's about, and I think too much now in terms of modern society saying, you know, again, women to be successful must do X, Y, and Z. But actually, if you're a man or a woman and you're happy being, you know, at home cooking the tea, doing the school runs, etc., then that's fine.
So be it.
Yeah, I guess now it's gone the other way, like you said, and feminism is almost like a contradiction, because it's trying to say empower women, but this is how you do it.
Yes.
I dislike the word feminism, because a feminist is such a stereotypical word that when you actually look into it, that's not what we're trying to push.
It's about equality, it's about men and women equally having equal grounding, kind of creating a platform where men and women are equal. It's not about,
I think that's
women
the point.
bashing men.
Yeah, because there's a big noise in even in International Women's Day around empowering women, but actually there's not as much focus on empowering men, and it should be equal. Yes, we have a platform to empower women to get to this level, but at the same time make sure that men are still at the same. It's not being outweighed at all, and there's not more for one than there is the other just because of gender.
Yeah, and it's about also addressing issues with men in societies. We're not saying issues with men exact, but that came out wrong. But like toxic masculinity, for example, it's about combating that.
But then there's toxic feminism.
It's
that's what I'm saying. It's a balance.
Yeah. We were talking yesterday with a guy from a vendor, and we were saying, you know, it's like now, like especially as an old thing, and I always spoke about the muffins and the barms and the rolls and whatever last time.
Still a roll.
But we were speaking yesterday about, you know, up north it is very common for me to say cheers darling or cheers hon, right? It's not condescending, not intended to be condescending whatsoever, right? Now there's a challenge where you go, well, maybe some women don't like being called darling or hon, right? But you know, are people going to have to start having these labels on saying, yes, you're allowed to say this, it's a roll, it's not a balm. It's just all these different things. But the problem is you know, you see where people say, well, that's a sexist comment, and it's like, well, it's not. It's just the same as calling someone, you know, chap, mate, or pal, right? Again, that's a northern thing. You know, everyone's a mate. Yeah, certainly in Manchester, you know, hi mate. It's just that's how you grow up, and I still use it today. It's just, again, it just gets too. There's too many rules, so there's no empowerment. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I get what you mean. Do you think that too many people take their opinions and expect it to be universalised? Do you think that's why people get quite offended?
I think that's where it's having that balance. So having that platform to express your opinion, like social media, is great, but then understanding that people can have differences of opinions and there can be different sides to every story. That's what I think people need to realise, that just because they have a strong opinion on something doesn't mean that is the opinion of everyone. Exactly. And if someone else's opinion is different from that they're necessarily wrong. So like
it's even worse on social media though. It's like you see these celebrities and they have this platform and they're absolutely entitled to voice their own opinion. And if you don't like their opinion, their response is don't follow me. Right? But it's like, you don't have to like every single opinion of someone to be interested in following them. And again, it just becomes this, you get this whole chasm of people that, well, my opinion, if you don't like it, don't talk to me. And it's like, well, that's not what it's about here, because there's no balance in that whatsoever.
But then on the complete end of that, it's people that have a difference of opinion then go and troll them and will attack them
Abuse
on
them,
social
whatever.
media.
Yeah, and use
And
their
that's what
use their opinion almost like as justification, like as facts.
Yes.
And people need to realise, I think, that not everything that they say, people aren't going to agree with them, and just because someone doesn't agree with their opinion, it doesn't mean that they dislike them. They're not being offensive towards that specific person. It's not personal. It's nothing personal.
And I think that's what it is. People, and I'm one for doing this, take things too personally. Because if you've got an emotional attachment to something and someone gives you that difference of opinion, you take it personally, right? And I'm probably one of the biggest people I know that does that. But again, with help and obviously trying to have some coaching around that, you can change that habit.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
I think that ties into empowerment quite nicely, really, because it's about saying that you can have your opinion, and whilst you have to expect people to disagree, it can still you can still be empowered by your opinion, even if it's just an opinion. It doesn't have to be fact for you to be empowered by it. It's about standing by your opinion and kind of knowing that something isn't permanent as well. I think.
And then go back to that neurodiversity. I think I've got a friend's son who's autistic, and he, like you say, you can't see that something's wrong with him. Because I know him, I work close to him, I see that happening. But when you walk around Tesco's or somewhere and he may be acting up to somebody else, that's just his normal behaviour. But people pass judgment and physically make a comment about it, and that is what I think we should cut out, to have an understanding of people are different, whether you have autism, whether you're male, female, different ages, different race, whatever. It's okay to think something potentially in your head, but voicing it and making that firm.
It needs to become natural, by the way, because there's nothing wrong with him because he's got autism, right?
Sorry, I didn't
no, but that's and you didn't, and I wasn't offended. But that's the point. Do you know what I mean? That's the point, is that people, there's no general acceptance. It comes to that, that kind of institutional bias that we spoke about last time. It's just different. Do you know what I mean? Because that's, people would have said that 10 years ago about gay people. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They would have said there's something wrong with him or her because they're gay. Whereas now it's much more accepted in society. You know what I mean? So, and I think so. It's just about. And actually, if that kid's a naughty kid because he or she's had too many sweets that day, so what? That's kids, right? And then people are still too opinionated. So it's not an excuse. It's just life, right? It's like it's this kind of whole children should be seen and not heard, and it's gone away now, isn't it?
I knew that was going to happen.
That obviously agrees.
I could see you all hovering like it was.
Me too.
I was kind of like,
that needs to go
there needs to be a break.
That's fine. That needs to go into the outtakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still
I didn't mean to say normal.
No, it's all right. Yeah, it's the point. But the point about that, about saying something wrong with him, it's like, and I keep referencing to the last time we talked about John Barnes and those kind of things. People would be too easy to stereotype, to label somebody based on, well, you've said there's something wrong, so they're offended by that. So that means that you must be, against people that are neurodiverse. The same way that somebody makes a comment and somebody interprets it as racist, even though it wasn't intended to be racist. That's John Barnes' point. But because obviously that's an easy conversation to have because there's no real sensitivity about it. Whereas if you'd have said something about that was sexist or racist, or deemed to be sexist or racist, nobody wants to pull you on it. People just label you.
No.
And that's
rather than having a conversation,
understanding
your
Exactly.
opinion.
I feel like the ability to understand is being taken for granted almost, and I think instead of having that conversation, people just are very quick to label. They don't want to kind of grow in their opinions.
No.
They just
people like to put people in boxes.
Opinion,
But that's also about education. So in school, I think they should teach children about neurodiversity and about having a different gender and age and race and whatever. That actually it's okay. That there's nothing wrong with having something wrong with you. It's not wrong. It's just that people are different. Yeah.
It's different.
But I don't think that does happen in school these days.
No, it's getting better. I think if you think of obviously a reference to the LGBT stuff that's going on, where schools have been much more open. One of my Ethan, who's autistic, his teacher last year was gay, and I remember having a conversation with him and with Ethan about, you do know Mr. X, he's not, he's openly gay, right? But Mr. X, likes boys, not girls. My Ethan's 9, and it was just absolutely normal. There was no, there was no seed of doubt. There was no, that's strange. Absolutely zero.
Yeah,
and that's what it should be.
When Ellie was in reception, she had her teacher, so her form teacher was gay, and his husband works in the same school, and they're both obviously called Mr. X. They have the same name, and the kids don't look at it and think, that's weird, because it's not to them, because it's normal.
No, and it's like, last night Ethan had his best friend, who's a girl from his class, and they are thick as thieves. They'll bounce on the trampoline and then they'll be sat cuddled up on the couch. And they are literally best mates. Obviously they're only 9 anyway, right? But there's no boyfriend and girlfriend talk. And they, they're not boy or girl, they're just friends.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, sometimes it's too many people too quick to try and label and try and justify them.
That is the same in adult life. I've got male friends and everyone constantly takes the mick because, your boyfriend. I'm like, no, it's not. You can get on with a man or a woman without having to put a label on it. And that encouraging that behaviour, and like your son obviously having a best friend that's a girl, nothing wrong with that.
I think that encourages a little bias, really. If you grow up thinking that everyone is kind of assigned a label, then obviously that creates a ground for prejudice and to actually act on it, because it's human nature to kind of act on our assumptions and stereotype.
Yeah.
I tell you, another one is like when you talk about pink and blue, right? And then you get one end of the spectrum, which is you should not say that pink is a girl's colour, right? But actually, pink is a girl's colour in the sense, in my opinion, in the sense that my daughter loves pinks, purples, lilacs, etc. Would I wear a pink t-shirt? Absolutely I would, right? I still think it's a girl's colour. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm not being sexist by saying that, because I don't just say only girls can have pink and pink girls must wear pink. And I think that's it's a little bit of a weird analogy, but it's really tricky. And I think, but again, people just automatically label it. No, sexist, you can't say it. Yeah. When you're like, it's strange.
There was a little boy in my girl's school, and they had to bring a teddy in for a teddy bear's picnic one lunchtime, and he brought in his dolly. Now it was 6-7-year-old little boy with a dolly. I loved it because seeing a little boy playing with a doll or seeing a little girl play with a fire engine, there's nothing wrong with that. And actually, the world is getting better because there's now dolls specifically made aimed at little boys. Yeah. So they're not just little girls. You can get little boy dolls, but then even then, why can't little boy play with a little girl doll? Yeah. Why has it got to be a male doll?
People don't, and this comes back to this whole STEM thing. That in my opinion, that parents and society don't force that a girl shouldn't play with dolls because she should play with fire engines.
It's given her the choice.
Well, it's not even given her at the end of the day, if you've got children, but your children naturally are drawn to things, right? So my daughter is naturally drawn to dolls, makeup. She's 6, right? But you know what I mean? Yeah, and I get the makeover all the time. But she's naturally drawn to them. We didn't say, you must be doing this thing. I had to go and sit in a chair and it's her salon, right? And I had to have my beard done and all sorts, right? And toenails painted a lot. But, whereas my son wants to play on the games console, he wants to do Sky Electric, he wants to play football. My daughter started playing football now. But again, I've not gone, oh right, well I don't want you just doing girly things, so you must play football. Do you know what I mean? And there's too many people that are trying to, going back to that STEM thing, force girls to do non-traditional girl things, if that makes sense.
It's a good balance between encouraging it but not being too forceful with that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Do you think some people get empowered by being told no, for example, or being told they have to do a certain thing? For example, I remember in school I wasn't allowed to play football because it wasn't a girls' sport. Boys played football, girls didn't, and I think that that empowered me to actually want to do it more, and it kind of gave me that grit and determination to actually prove them wrong and think, actually I can play football, I can do all of this stuff. But at the same time there was still kind of like a glass ceiling on it. From what I was able to do on my own, it couldn't extend far enough for any action to be done because of society and kind of like a higher power telling you no.
I think no matter whether you're male or female, being told no can empower you. Using your example, when I was in school, we were told from the age of, I think it was 11, you physically couldn't play with the boys' teams because the rules in that league were that girls couldn't play with boys who age 11. So we just set up a girls' football team, which was easy enough to do because there was enough girls that wanted to do it. But I think telling someone no, yes, does empower them, but knowing when it should and shouldn't empower you. If you're being told no because you're a female, then yeah, fight it.
Yeah.
If you're being told no because you're a male, then yeah, fight it. But if you're being no, understand why you're being told no.
Yeah, because some of that football one is about the physicality.
Yes.
It's sort of,
Yeah.
it's changing a bit now, but it is. That's why there isn't
Yeah.
these teams that
Exactly.
don't, and that's not because girls can't play football and
It's
girls
just
can't
other
play football. It's just
justifiable reasons,
yeah.
isn't there?
And,
Like if you go to walk into the boys' toilets and someone tells you no, are you going to feel empowered to go and walk in there because you're a girl? That's, do you know what I mean? There's
yeah.
Yeah.
I think some people are empowered by it, and you clearly was, and some people aren't, and that's the problem.
Yeah. I think it depends on the circumstance,
Yeah, it
really.
does.
You know,
And the
if
individual.
you don't have if you have a
Yeah.
good enough reason, then
You were confident enough to go, no, I want to do this. You was passionate and confident enough to do something about it.
yeah, definitely.
Which is great because that means that your family, your friends had empowered you to do that.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening and watching our podcast. Whether you've watched one episode or you've tuned in for the whole series, thank you very much. I really hope that you found it interesting and insightful, and thank you to all our guests too over the 4 weeks. Everyone's enjoyed working on the podcast. We've learnt so much in regards to gender equality, gender imbalances, and really pushing that hashtag Balance for Better, the theme of International Women's Day. And we hope that we have inspired you to create your own Balance for Better. Thank you.